他给我们介绍多瑙河下游皮尔曲勒红铜时代的莫谷拉戈加纳土丘遗址情况。有请。
I start again. Dear Professor Wang, esteemed committee, we are most grateful for this award, and I say thank you in the name of my team. Ladies and gentlemen, Tel Măgura Gorgana at Pietrele has a slightly oval shape. The diameter in east-west direction is just under 97 meters, and in northwest direction 90 meters. The tel was in its last phase more than 11 meters high and now stands about 9 meters above the surrounding area. Pietrele is situated in the western Black Sea area, around 150 kilometers from the coast, nearby famous sites like Varna or Karanovo. Pietrele is situated at the most western part of the Eurasian steppe belt, but Pietrele is also connected by the Danube with the regions in the Carpathian Basin and in Central Europe. In the earliest map, which shows the settlement mound from 1857, it is visible that there was a broad meadow with small rivers and lakes between the Tel and the Danube. They disappeared during the irrigation works of the Romanian government in the late 1950s. From the beginning, the reconstruction of the landscape in the 5th millennium was a central part of the excavations in Pietrele. After these investigations, the Danube flowed in the 5th millennium through a large lake, which is provisionally named as Lacul Gorgana. It extended from Giurgiu in the western part to at least Oltenitsa in the east, and it was probably larger than Lake Constance in southern Germany. This result has significance far beyond the local history of the settlement of Pietrele. The Neolithic and the Copper Age settlements were located on the edge of the terrace to today's floodplain or to the former bank of the Paleo Lake. Pietrele and many other Copper Age settlements should therefore have had direct access to the water or to the Danube. Undoubtedly, these settlers at the lake were mobile with boats. The lake was a significant food resource for the inhabitants, as shown by the fish remains. The lake was also an important traffic area. For the very close similarities in the material culture of the so-called Gumenica settlements, their common position on the lake is a reasonable explanation. The settlements on the lake were practically the core of the Gumenica culture, which differs in many details from the Thracian Karanovo district and the northern Bulgarian Kochaderman culture. The settlement mounds in that area existed to our present state of knowledge between about 4,550 and 4,250 BCE. At that time, living on the settlement mound had already come to an end in most regions of southeastern Europe. Not only the late adaptation of this type of settlement is remarkable. In terms of their form, they also differ from most settlement mounds in southeastern Europe. A characteristic feature of the southern Romanian hills is their high and steep shape, which makes them widely recognizable in the landscape. It's fundamentally different from the most Neolithic settlement hill, for example, in the Tisa Valley in the southern Carpathian Basin. Măgura Gorgana is the largest known tell settlement of the Copper Age with 8 meters, 8.50 meters of Copper Age stratification. The Copper Age layers in the tell site of this is what we reached this year. In the tell site of Karanovo, however, are just under 4 meters thick. Măgura Gorgana grew rapidly because all the burned and unburned houses were covered with around 1 meter thick pack of deposition of mud and sand before building a new house. These massive depositions served to seal off the old houses as well as to give the necessary foundation to the construction of the new house. The posts of the new house were buried in this earth, and in the latest phases, on the other hand, of the mound, the houses were built with pure clay walls, as it is shown here, or you can see the yellow stripes here. In the middle phase, they used wooden posts as well, as you can see here in the profile, for example. And here we excavated the lower part of the posts, and the reconstruction would be this way. The posts were probably more than 3 meters high. In one case, we could excavate a 2-story house. Here they were 2 ovens, and the oven from the upper story crashed down and buried a lot of pots, as visible here. And this is, of course, always the good situation for archaeologists if they have sealed houses, as for example here. On the right side, you can see all the access from this house, which is a very interesting example that we mostly underestimate the number of artifacts in these Neolithic or Copper Age houses. Another burnt house was excavated in 2009. You can here see the oven and before installation for grinding grain with some pots here as well. And the huge number of more than 100 vessels which were broken, but we were able to restore them. Besides that, the only golden piece was found in this burnt house by our Chinese colleague at that time, Mr. Wang Peng. And this is the best dated golden amulet of this type, which we have at the moment. So also in 2015, we found a well-preserved burnt house with a lot of wooden beams. And last year we excavated the Pioneer House. It was unburned and not so well preserved, but you can see the black shadow on the right side of the trench. So we reached, after more than 11 meters, the virgin soil, and this is the fantastic situation to have now an uninterrupted sequence of more than 300 years, which will allow us to draw very good development lines in each object categories in economy and so on and so on. Due to the good preservation and our restoration team, we have more than 2,000 complete vessels from these houses, which offers a chance to develop a pottery chronology based on stratigraphy and radiocarbon dates. And here a selection from the uppermost house, from one house from the middle phase and from the pioneer house, and the specialist will already have detected the interesting development. To understand the houses, the architecture, the chronology are basic issues, crucial for any other aspect. But the motivation of our excavation in Pietrele was to solve a problem in social archaeology, the problem of Varna. Here, the very rich graves in the cemetery show clearly the division of the society, very rich and very poor people already in the 5th millennium. And this situation in the symbolic, expressed by the symbolic grave goods, should be explained by this wonderful archive of a settlement as the Pietrele is. The distribution of finds offer already decisive arguments for different economic activities which are based on specialization and division of labor. Thus, in the houses of Area F, for example, the vast majority of the hunting and fishing items came to light. In contrast, the house generations in Area B, characterized by grinding of grain, were occupied in textile production. Here also 2 looms were uncovered in situ. The households were specialized in different economic activities. Another argument for specialization are the finds themselves. The quality of the decoration, for example, of these pottery bowls speaks clearly for specialization. And this is especially true for the big storage vessels, the pitoi, containing 300 and 400 liters. To build up such a large vessel, the potter needs a lot of experience, and the specialization depends, of course, on the demand, and this was obviously the case. The similarity between this pitos from Pietrele on the left side and another from Megidia 150 kilometers to the east suggests an over-regional distribution of such large vessels. Also, the flint tools were completely imported to Pietrele from workshops in North Bulgaria, and especially the long blades between 25 and 40 centimeters were also the product of specialized flint knappers. Of course, the coppersmith was a specialist, and this is also true for the marble producer of marble vessels and marble figurines. And we can assume that this is also true for the producer of arm rings from the spondylus shell, which were imported from the Mediterranean Sea. Here you get an idea of the different directions of the imported objects. The huge number of 500 figurines show that rituals played an important role in Pietrele, and here some items of bone, which is also a peculiarity in the Copper Age. In the later phases, hunting played an important role in Pietrele. Horse, ox, deer, wild boar are numerous. The leopard is an exception, but it was hunted by the people from Pietrele. But fishing and collecting mussels played the most important role in the diet. Big heaps of mussels show that they were consumed in larger festivities. And in one trench, we found a pottery set, which gives an idea of elite feasting with this extraordinary bowl. Here the side view, and here the quite complicated decoration. So beside this very large vessel, around 60 centimeters in diameter, there were a number of other vessels containing liquids and a number of nearly 20 small vessels for drinking. This tableware was completed by these two symbolic vessels, a hollow figurine and an anthropomorphic vessel. All these arguments speak for the existence of chief, and this fits quite well with the Ivana cemetery. So there's craft specialization, labor division, specialization by demand, organized surplus production, probably chiefdom organization, evidence for forced labor, prestige goods, and a kind of ideological control. So I only want to show that this was not done by 80 people, which was the estimation when we started the excavation. Our also Chinese colleague Bao Sun from Bochum made this geophysics, and he found out that there were around 100 buildings around the mound, and this is the first time that a Copper Age tell could be part, or what was shown that this was part of a larger settlement which we excavated in the last 10 years, and even the flat settlement around the tell was not so easy to excavate because of a up to 2 meter high colluvial deposit, which we had to take away before we found very well preserved finds like this pottery. And I just want to show the last house from this flat settlement, which we excavated since 2017. It was a burnt and collapsed house containing, for example, this big vessel and a huge number of smaller tableware, and with a very well visible foundation of the wall, this darker stripe on the right side. And then we found in the north western part one skeleton of a baby. Then under this another individual, and on the north, on the south western edge of the wall, we found a third individual. So 3 individuals were part of the building process, and this is singular find in the Neolithic and the Copper Age Southeastern Europe, and will puzzling our or will be subject of investigation in the next few years. So we think that Pietrele offers a lot of possibilities for future research to investigate the time period between 4,500 and 4,250. And in the name of our team, I would like to thank again the committee for the award, and all of you, thank you for your attention.
谢谢孙德汉森教授。